This is videos number 64 for violin players. And in this video, we're going to review our G string notes. We're going to do a little bit echoing and kind of review how to read them. And then we're actually going to read them in the book. So you do need your book. We're going to be playing 93 through 96 today. But first, let's do some review. So remember, your G string notes, easy to remember, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, over on your lowest string. A couple other things about the G string. Remember, you need to bring your elbow in a little bit further so you can reach those strings, the string with your fingers, okay? If you're back here, you're going to probably play out of tune and with a bad tone. You've got to have your fingers coming from the top. You've got to be able to reach that fourth finger as well, okay? Remember, fourth finger on the G string is the same pitch as open D. It's a new way to play an old note, okay? Let's do a little bit of echoing first. Remembering elbow in, pressing hard here. What do we need here? We need more of something, less of something. We need more weight and less bow, okay? So let's do C. Remember, this is not C sharp. This is C. Echo me, 4 C's. And go. C, 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 C. I hope you remembered that C was 3 fingers down. Let's do 2 C's and 2 B's. C, 3 fingers, B, 2 fingers. Try that. Echo me. And go. C, C, B, B. Now do 2 A's, 1 finger, and 2 B's, 2 finger, A and B. And go. A, B, B. Now we're going to put our 4th finger down, elbow around, pressing hard, stretch. 4 D's. 4th finger on the G string is D. And go. D, 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 D. Now do 2 D's, 4th finger, and 2 C's. Remember, it's not C sharp. 2 D's, 2 C's. Try that. Echo me. And go. D, D, C, C. Now do 2 D's, 4th finger, and 2 B's. D, D, B, B. Now go A, B, C, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. A, B, C, D. Okay, now let's look in your book on number 93. Number 93 is probably going to be pretty easy for you. It's just open G. You don't have to put any fingers down at all for open G. Make sure that when you're playing on the open G, you use a lot more weight. But see how much bow I'm using? I'm not using the whole bow. Don't go all the way out here. See how that airy sound happens? We don't want that. We want strong, full, resonant tone. So more weight. And remember, we use the weight of the arm. You don't do this. Don't do that. That's bad. That's bad. Don't press in with your fingers. You're going to get a bad crunchy sound. Pull down with the weight of your arm. Okay? So number 93, all it is just open G. Now remember, open G, the way we describe open G, we learned this in a previous video, it is below the 2nd ledger line, below the staff. That's a lot of belows. Below the 2nd ledger line, below the staff. Okay, now let's try. Let's play 93. Now you might think, oh, this is super easy. I'm going to tell you right now, some of you are going to mess up in measure 3. You don't need to shadow bow it. Just play it with me. Okay, just be careful of measure 3. Make sure you give the half note 2 full beats. And 1, 2, 93, open G, go. Half note, half note. Rete, forte, off. Make sure that your half notes get 4 eighth notes. I'm going to turn the clicks on for eighth notes so we can make sure that our half notes get 2 full beats, okay? Now, 94, I do want you to shadow bow, and the reason is people tend to mess up. They mess up again. Looks easy. It's C almost the whole way, but look at the last measure. There's a G there. Remember, G is 2 ledger lines below the staff, whereas C is on the 1st ledger line below the staff, okay? Shadow bow. Notice your key signature in 94. We talked about this in a previous video. The key signature only has 1 sharp, okay? If it had 2, you wouldn't be able to play that note because we haven't learned that yet. Okay, the note that we know on the G string is C. The key signature says all F's are sharp, but C's are not sharp. That's why this is C. Is there a C sharp on the G string? Yes. Will you learn it? In book 2, you will. Not yet, but in book 2, you will. So C. Shadow bow 94. These are C, also known as C natural. Shadow bow, these are eighth notes clicking. 94. Red C, shadow bow. 1, C, C. C, C, C. Now half note again. C, 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 G, C, te, forte, off. Play that with me. And 1, 2, 94, and no. C. Half note. C, 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 G, te, forte, off. All right, now go on to number 95. Now number 95, the first note is a B. What does B look like? It kind of looks similar to G. People confuse G and B a lot. What's the difference? Well, they're both below a ledger line, but B only is below 1 ledger line. G is below 2 ledger lines. That's the difference. So notice the difference between there. Now look at number 95. I want you to count the number of C's that you see. How many C's do you see in 95? Count that. You should have said 3. There are 3 C's in number 95. Find them all. There's 1 in measure 3 and 2 in measure 4. How many G's are there? Just 1 in the last measure. Okay, shadow bow, we have 2 fingers down now. B is below the first ledger line. 2 fingers down for B. Shadow bow, 2, red C, and go. B, 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 B. Now look ahead, C. 3 fingers, back to B, back to C. Open G. 3, te, 4, te, off. Now play that with me. If you ever need to pause and if you didn't shadow bow that really well, that's okay. Pause, work on it, and then join me. 95. 1, 2, B finger down, go. G, B, B, 2 fingers. B, B, B. Now look ahead, here comes C. Now B, C. Open G. 3, te, 4, te, off. Okay? You'll get better at reading your G string notes. You just have to practice these, okay? You just got to practice them until you can really read them. It's 4 new notes. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. You got this. You can do this. Okay, go on to number 96. Now, 96 is A. A lot of people confuse A and C. Why? Because they're both on lines, right? The difference, A has 2 lines. A has a line above it, and then it sits on the second ledger line below the staff. C is on the first ledger line below the staff. The A, it's on the second one. That's the difference. That's how you know. And A is going to be lower on the page a little bit too. Okay, shadow bow 96. So 1 finger down. Kind of look and review your notes there. There's a G in measure 3, a couple B's in measure 4, and a C in measure 4. A bunch of A's though. Shadow bow, A, 1 finger. 1, 2, shadow bow, and go. A, 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 A. Now open G. Now B's. 3, te, 4, te, off. Now play that with me. 1 finger, 1, 2, A's, and no. A, 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 A. Now open G. Now A, B. 3, te, 4, te, off. All right. So if you struggle with any of those, I'll pause the video right now and practice those because it's only going to get a little bit more complicated. The whole next page is all G string stuff. All right, we're going to move on to number 97 in the next video. Okay, so practice all of these, learn to read your G string notes really well so you'll be ready for your next video.